Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talks with Todd.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy B Todd. This is Talks with Todd, man, episode 10. And I brought my guy back. If y'all liked last week's episode, y'all definitely about to enjoy this one. This is about to be more so a conversation than it was an interview. So this is going to be dope. I'm glad you was able to make it here again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to infamous Chef Wilson.
Thank you, my brother. It's my guy right here. How's your week been thus far?
Oh, man, it's been cool. You know, little ups and downs, but that's life.
That's life. Life be life.
And you know how we are, Geminis. We know how to adapt to any situation. So
Absolutely.
We good. So, yeah, man, we're going to get right into the topic, man. And this is the topic you chose, so I'm going to let you introduce it.
So we're talking about 3 does not mean you're out.
Yes.
So we're talking about when you're married, if you've been married 3 times, even if it's been 2 times, I believe people give up way too easy. Even if they've been married and been divorced, they give up on their vision and their dream for a family or a marriage. It just did not happen with that person.
Right.
So I feel like you should brush off your knees, but we talked about this last time. Take out some time and have some accountability, right? That is so important. But I don't think anyone should abandon their dreams when it comes to family and marriage.
I agree. I remember going through my previous divorce, and I was saying to myself, I think I'm done. And the funny thing is, I said that the first time, like, I'm not about to do this. I'm not about to get into another marriage again. It's pointless. You know, women are. I had this real negative mindset that all women were gonna play games, all women were gonna do something messed up, and then I'm left with nothing again. You know, so what got me out of that mindset though was just me sitting back for a minute, like we talked about last episode, getting quiet, staying to yourself, and then boom, next thing you know, here comes my wife, my third wife that I didn't expect to be my third wife. She came in like right in the thick of everything and kind of like got my mind ready because she was going through a divorce herself. So while she was going through her divorce, it was kind of like she was mentoring me to get myself together to be prepared for the nonsense that was about to come with it. You know what I'm saying? Because this divorce, the last divorce was different. It was like, now I'm dealing with kids. First divorce, thank God I didn't have to deal with that. So yeah. So once I started like going through that motion and I'm like realizing, wow, you know what? She might be the one I need to be with. You know what I mean? So I'm like, she coached me through this and we was there to have each other's back. I'm like, all right, you know what? This might not be such a bad thing to do to move forward. You know, she already know who I am. She already got a relationship. Well, at least she had a relationship with one of my kids already. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and see what's going on over here. Let me stop with the nonsense that I was on. Let me give this woman a chance, you know? And it took some time. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared, bro.
And I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, I was scared.
How long did it take you before you let go of, what's she up to?
It really didn't take long. The problem wasn't really her, it was just me because I felt like I had to put a time restriction on when I can fall in love again. And that was the problem. I kept saying to myself, you know what? You done already been married twice, sir. So why don't you just get your mind right, get your bread back up because you're about to lose money, and then get into another relationship. And then I kept thinking about who my wife was, like when she was just my friend and we was just we was reconnected. While we were reconnecting, I'm like, damn, do I really want to let this go? Because if I let her go, she gone. I don't know how I knew, but something told me if I let her go, she's as good as gone. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get it together. But I still, you know, even with us going through the process of being with each other, I was still like hesitant because I'm like, man, this is horrible timing. But it's like you're the right woman, but this is horrible timing, you know? So I was just like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just let me see how we can work this out. You know what I mean? I knew she was good people. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. Dorian, what's up, bro? He said, he was like, do you think y'all trauma bonded, divorce and all? Not really, because, you know, we went through 2 different struggles when it came down to our divorce. So she was already headed to the finish line of her divorce, and I was at the beginning stages of mine. So I don't think we really trauma bonded. If anything, we just talked about the past and what it was like when we were with our former significant others, and we kind of moved from there. But I don't think we trauma bonded. I mean, if anything, we just shared stories about what we went through, because obviously on the outside things be looking good, and you don't know what was going on internally. So yeah, I don't believe we trauma bonded though. But
that is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like the person I'm with now, I waited 3 years. Right. So because in the past I did trauma bond with someone, I believe.
Yeah.
So I knew what that looked like. I knew what it felt like. So there's a lot of people trying to come in my life and stuff, but I believe they had things going on also. So our conversation was pretty much about the trauma we went through, instead of good, healthy conversation about getting to know the person. So I kind of understood that part during it. So I do agree with you. That happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't going to make sure it wasn't going to happen to me again.
Yeah.
And I said again.
Yeah.
And again.
Now, and you know what? That was a great question. But I did, however, trauma bond in the relationship beforehand. So I know what that feels like. Her and I were basically together to get over somebody else. The both of us. It wasn't just me. It was a collective issue. We both trauma bonded trying to get over somebody that we were once dealing with. So I know what that feels like. That's why I urged like myself to be not go in that direction again. That's why in the beginning I wasn't looking for nobody else. Like I had a whole conversation with myself. I'm be like, you know what, man, this time I'm about to keep my dick in my pants. He get me in too much trouble. I get myself in too much trouble. I'm good. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And this was a conversation I was actually having with my wife. So we weren't on that type of time, but I know I did it before. That's why I knew going forward into this marriage, I wasn't doing that again. So yeah, I know what that feels like. It's not a good look. And then at the end of the day, all y'all gonna end up doing is hurting each other. That saying of getting over somebody by getting under somebody else, all that crap that we was taught, that's nonsense. It's stupid. What you need is time to yourself, not time and trauma with others.
Yes, absolutely. And but the key thing is not to take too much time to yourself.
True.
I think we shared this before, because you get to a point where you do not want to share your time with anyone, because the piece of the whole thing feels so wonderful. And you know that once you meet somebody, it's some compromise, and you know what it looks like, right? You know what it feels like. So it's going to be different for everyone. But I knew after a few years that I said, okay, you're okay. You're not all right, but you're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can get back behind the wheel, put the seatbelt on. I'm just not speeding.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of people, man. I was just like, they just feel like I was taking my time. I said, well, hey, because I really want to know this time around. However, with the topic today, 3 does not mean that you're out. When you meet somebody and if you tell them that you've been married before you divorced, they'd be like, oh. And if it's 2 times, it's like, wow. 3 times, like, really? However, what we need to look at is maybe, I think sometimes if you've been in a marriage, if you're in a marriage for 6, 7 years, you're probably more kept than a person who's been single for 6 or 7 years. If you go back biblically, like a lot of people got a lot of wives and husbands, because if you lay down with somebody, had sex, that's your wife.
That's your person.
Soul ties and all, right?
Yeah.
So for our married people, basically this show, if don't give up on your dreams because it didn't happen with this other person, right? It was a failed situation, and you have to have accountability to what you contribute, first of all, so you don't do it in the next one. But it doesn't mean that you're out, because most people, like I said before, they have so many wives and husbands out here because they have soul ties.
Yes.
You know, and that's very confusing when you've laid with a lot of women and men. You're constantly comparing. And sometimes you may walk away from a relationship because she's just not as good in bed as the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, she don't do this. You know, so it's like, she cool, but she won't get down with this, so I'm going to keep moving.
Yep.
So,
excuse me.
For our people that's been divorced, even if you've been divorced 3 times, brush your knees off and learn from your mistakes, not the other person, yours, because you're going to make them in the next situation.
Absolutely.
and you can continue forward with everything that you've learned. I have. You know, I'm not saying that I'm not prone to make some mistakes in my new situation, but I'm not going to make the ones that I made in the past, and I'm going to be slow to speak and to act in my new situation.
Back to what you said about comparing after having so many partners. I remember staying in my first marriage way longer than what I was supposed to, only because of the sex. So I know what that's like to just sit up there, be in a relationship. You don't like who you with. Y'all not in love no more, but the sex was great. That's not a good reason to stay together, because if y'all don't like each other outside of that, that should be a red flag to you. Like, okay, I do need to get out, because it should be more to a marriage, a relationship, or whatever than sex. So don't get me wrong. Sex is very important. However, it can't just be the only thing that's keeping y'all going. Because you gotta, once the sex is over with, what else do you have is what you gotta ask yourself. So, yeah, I remember being that stupid, that naive, and staying in a relationship longer than what I should have because of that. And I please don't do that. Don't make that mistake, young men. All right, that I understand. Yes. It's good, all that good stuff. But guess what? It's somebody better out there that's better for you. So don't just stay in a relationship because of no good sex.
You know, I need to comment on that. My dad tell me this all the time, and my dad's almost 90. He's 88. He said, son, with this next one, he said, what you just said, make sure you have more in common just sex and paying bills.
Yeah, yeah, real. That's real. And you know what's crazy?
He said, please,
women, especially when men lead with their peace. And I'm talking about your dick, like not peace, but your peace. When you lead with your peace, women, they catch on to that and they will use it against you. Guys, please don't do that. Because if they know that sex is going to calm you down, if they know that sex is going to make you change your mind, if they know that sex is going to make you look at things differently, they're going to use that to their advantage. So you better stop leading with your peace. All right? Stop leading with that, because they're going to use it and let you know, oh, okay, you mad about this? Bet. Let me give you some head. Let me throw it back for you real quick, and then all is forgiven. No, it's not. Because guess what? When you lead with that, that's really your weakness. Mm-hmm. And they're going to use that to their advantage. I went through it, second marriage. Only difference was I knew what the game was. Mm-hmm. Oh, you think this conversation was over just because we got it in? No, ma'am, that was just a little intermission. You got to relax. We're going back to this conversation. Only difference is I'm going to go back into the conversation with a cooler head. But we're definitely going to have a conversation.
At that point, you like, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, if everything you're saying, Todd, is on point. People, slow down.
Yeah.
If you want to find out if someone's in character, tell them to keep that sex. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to be able to stay in character for long. Let me tell you the reason why. Todd just said it. If that's been their way to manipulate and get their way, when they have to think outside the box, no pun intended, they will lose it, and they will show you the true them real quick.
Yeah. Real quick,
when they're not allowed to use that. Seriously. So you meet somebody, just... for some people, this is not going to work because they just believe in the number game.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to build with someone. They just want to be single and have sex.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. But you have to recognize that up front. We had a conversation about that earlier, if that's why they're there. So if your plans is to build with someone and invest, take your time. Mm-hmm. Please take your time in that sex department and stuff. You know what it's like. You probably got kids. It's nothing new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not like when we was 14, 12, 15. Yeah. Some people 7. I don't know. This new generation. But take your time with that. That's the most powerful, and I told my daughter this, the most powerful feeling in this world. And you will lose your mind. Things that once made sense to you, when you start getting that, will not make sense. You know what I'm saying? It have people not go to work.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even get up and go to church.
I remember that. I remember those days missing out on work just because of some action, like or even dipping out of work to do that. Like, you gotta have some discipline because if you don't, you about to mess something up big time.
Yes.
Big time. But how did you get to a point where you was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give this another shot instead of getting jaded by what you went through in your last marriage?
Something just kept coming to me, and it's probably conversations with my dad. And it's amazing when you quiet yourself and have conversations with yourself and God. And one thing that always came back, said, Fred, why leave the best part of you in a failed situation? And I said, I can just stay single and prove something to everyone. Like, man, I ain't getting married, and at barbecues, I'd be like, that's why I ain't married. You know, I could have did all that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I ain't got nobody. You know, But a point that you would be proving would be pointless.
Right.
You know, I think everybody's put on this earth for some sort of companionship. I mean, you can have fun, but life gonna slow you down.
Yeah, definitely. Right? It definitely will.
And you can't throw it back like that always.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So what brought me to that point is that statement. You know, Fred, don't leave the best part of you in a failed situation, because what most people don't realize, you become your ex.
Ooh, hit the claps for that, please. Yes.
So you're about to do everyone the way she or he did you. Seriously.
Yeah.
Unconsciously.
Yes.
And that's a hard road to get back to, especially when you run into that person who deserved the better you that you left behind, and all you have to give to her and him is what your ex gave you. Man, come on now.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
You're not lying. I've seen people do it. I'm guilty of it. And I remember telling myself, wait a minute, the same thing you didn't like about your ex, you're now doing. I had to catch it myself though. And I remember catching myself. It was right in the middle of a back and forth. And I was just like, hold up. I'm doing the exact same thing I hate. I got to relax. And you know, you got to have those moments. Like, if you get to a point where you can't check yourself, guys, don't try to check nobody else. You got to be able to check yourself first.
Absolutely.
Somebody might have to point it out to you, you know, but for the most part, at least start paying attention to it if somebody else does it.
Absolutely.
But you got to know how to check yourself. When you know something ain't right, or you know you sounding kind of bold, like, hold on, man, that just really came out my mouth. you got to be able to check yourself and let yourself know, like, okay, this is not the way I want to move. This is something that I'm just used to being done to me. That whole hurt people crap. Mm-hmm. It's a real thing. I've done it before, and I've been very much guilty of it. Not proud of it, but at least I was able to check myself. And if I wasn't, my wife was able to say, hey, you doing this. Oh, you know what? You right, baby. Let me get myself together. Simple.
Absolutely. Todd, you mind if I give him the call-in number?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
If you guys are listening, or even comment or call in at 810-560-0658.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you.
Definitely. Yeah.
So,
is there if there's anybody in the comments that wants to call in and give their testimony, listen, go ahead, call in, let us know, like, you've been married before, you're looking to get married again, or if you're not, you could talk to us and tell us why. We don't judge. We just listen and give advice. That's it. For real.
And you know that part right there. So, while you're going through this process, and you may be sitting at barbecues, birthday parties, don't feel uncomfortable about where your life journey has brought you.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't talk about this, but if you've been divorced, I think everybody, it's a shaming. It's like an embarrassment about it. Some people try to make light of it. They try to have divorce parties. But at the end of the day, when the lights are out and you close that front door, everybody feels a certain way.
Yep.
And that's okay, right? But we just don't want you to stay there for long. The other people who, one thing about marriage, a breakup is more public.
Yep.
Than a dating breakup, right? It's more public. It is. So I can understand the embarrassment. The wedding pictures on Facebook and your family and friends, right? Understanding this part. Don't let the embarrassment keep you from moving forward in life.
Yeah.
You don't.
I agree.
Yeah, people, and I said it before, people give up way too easy. Now, if you have a business idea and you're looking for investors, you may get 100 no's, right? So, but it doesn't stop you from giving up on your vision, right? I will say this: companionship is very, very important. People bond all the time. Even if they're not dating, if it's a woman, she got some good girlfriends, she's going to call her every other day. Mm-hmm. That just lets you know how important that connection is. Man, we're a little bit different with it, but still we're going to reach out, right? So don't let the embarrassment slow you down and stop you. Don't brag about not wanting to get back into a marriage or even a committed relationship. It's not for everyone, and it's only not for the people who lack transparency and accountability. Relationships are not for them.
Yeah.
Not because they'll make excuses their whole life, and instead of pointing a finger back at themselves, they'll blame everyone. They'll play the victim role, right? So for that mindset, relationships or marriages is maybe not for that person, and they may not ever get it in a lifetime because they're going to hold on to it. We're just here to I call myself being life certified, so I'm only talking about things that I went through in the process. So please, if you're listening and you're sitting back, don't stay so angry for so long that you delay your own peace and happiness. Exactly.
I'm with you on that. And back to what you said about the embarrassment, I went through that. Let me start off with the first marriage. From the first marriage, I ran my mouth. Okay, I was guilty of it because I did not know I didn't have the emotional intelligence that I have right now. So when I went through my first divorce, I ran my mouth like I was still in high school. You know what I'm saying? And because I didn't know how to deal with the heartache, and I thought that was gonna help, but it didn't really help. It hurt. But I learned from that because somebody that I confided into, somebody that I really trusted with some information, ran and gave away that information, and I couldn't do nothing but blame myself. So when I did that first marriage, the second marriage, I kept everything to myself. And I moved forward. What's up, caller? You on the air?
Fellas, how y'all doing?
What's going on, bro?
Amazing.
Hey, I'm of the adage, social media will ruin your marriage. It will ruin your relationship. A lot of people don't even realize I've been married for like 4 years, and they don't even know it because I never put no pictures up. I don't show her. She's on social media, but she's not active on it.
Smart.
And for me, I've always keep your business your business. Mm-hmm. What goes on in your home should not be shared with the public. As far as, like I said, the trauma bonding, I got a great story about that because I'm helping a friend of mine out now. Mm-hmm. Because her mom had passed, my mom had passed, and I had met her mother, and she had met my mother. Now, mind you, we're not dating. She's like my sister at this point. I take care of her daughter. I help her with her daughter, and the whole trauma, it dawned on me. Probably about a year or so ago, I realized, I was like, you know what? We're bonding because we lost our mothers. And it's good in a way once you acknowledge it and know it, because I think a lot of people being in relationships or dealing with people, they're not even realizing what bonded them to it.
Right.
It can be like, oh, we lost our big homie, so we just gonna sit here and drink and smoke constantly over him. Like he's gonna come back and be like, yeah, pass the joint or pass the bottle to me. It's not gonna happen. So you'll be around, like I had to realize too, a lot of times you'll be around people because of things you do. Yeah, share some common vice or whatnot. Mm-hmm. It could be strip club, it could be sex, it could be drinking, smoking, video games, anything that could be excessive, because any and everything you got to do in moderation. Like I said, I practice stoicism. I study stoicism heavily. That is a part of my whole daily makeup as far as how I deal with things and having self-knowledge, self-awareness of what is going on, what I can control and what I can't control. And that has helped me tremendously over the last couple of years because, like I said before, like you said earlier, I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good, but I'm all right.
Right.
You know, and just trying to deal with all of that. But when it comes to marriages, relationships, people got to learn. Never let your left hand know what your right hand doing.
That's real.
You know,
That's real.
You don't have to broadcast everything because I see so many people put couple stuff on there. I'm like, how many of them people realize that this people have people that may or may not really they've been dealing with? You know what I'm saying? And they can get jealous and start causing confusion in your situation, liking on pics, saying little slick comments up under your stuff. It's like that's and look, especially if you're friends with your mate. Like, that's a disaster. That's a banana in the tailpipe move right there, and we're not aware of it because we think share everything, share the world, and it's not the case.
That's
Your
right.
personal relationship should never be shared with the world.
Yeah,
Never.
you're right, and that's what I was saying when I was talking about the lesson that I learned. So going into the second marriage, I decided not to run my mouth about nothing. But what the problem that ended up happening was my ex started running her mouth, and it was just her narrative being put out there. So I'm trying to remember what happened last marriage. Shut up, don't say nothing. But this where the downside came in. I kept my mouth shut, but while her narrative was being put out there, I'm being painted as the bad guy the entire time. So nobody is knowing what the truth is because I'm keeping my mouth shut thinking that I'm doing the right thing, which I still believe what I was doing because essentially the truth came out way later. It took years, but it still came out. And then they saw, oh, Brandon wasn't the problem. Well, he played a part in it, but he wasn't the sole problem like she was making me out to be. So that's what I ended up having to deal with after the fact.
Wow.
Sharing isn't always caring.
No, it isn't.
Definitely not.
And I miss, what's your name? Dorian. Yeah, you're right. And you said something about social media. My last marriage, when I went to marriage counseling, they said things that usually would break the marriage had changed. It was usually family, friends, finances, and infidelity. But then they said what had been added, like you said, Dorian, was social media.
Yeah.
So you're so right with that. But I think people think nowadays that's a part of most women. That's validation that you post me and celebrate me. No, because Denzel Washington said it. So he said, let your private life be private.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So much out here that's public. You can Google someone's name. You can find out where they live at, their phone number, social media, and certain things that mean something to you need to be private.
I agree 100%.
Like my wife has never asked me, why you never take a picture with me and post? Because you already know, listen, all my friends were probably sex friends too, right? And I'm not going to sit here and put you up under this situation where you're going to have people saying slick shit or starting stuff.
That's smart. That's smart. Let's keep that.
And I tell her, don't share me. Don't put me on, like you put me on Instagram. I'm never, look, we friends. Look, that's the only thing. We're friends on Instagram, and I haven't posted on Instagram probably about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't post on there because I know I'm already on there, and I don't want to be bothered with all of the what y'all do when y'all get. Because a lot of females, like I would do shows when I was doing my podcast, like I would wear my wedding ring, and then females would be jumping right on my on the line, or they in my DM. I didn't know you got married, and I'm looking like, well, yeah, but what we were doing a decade ago, what does it matter? But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't want to inquire about, don't ask me about who she is and what she is.
Right.
You
can avoid all of that by not saying nothing. I hear you.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, appreciate you calling in, bro, for real.
Bro,
Yes.
no problem.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Dorian.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right,
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
All right.
most definitely.
And that's social media. Sometimes you can over advertise your mate.
Yes.
And somebody gonna DM them.
Yeah.
Somebody be like, oh, that's my life. That's my wife, or that's my husband. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna DM you. You better cut it out.
I can't tell you. I was guilty of that. I used to post my wife a lot, and I slowed down once I realized, so now she's getting requests from people that I barely even talk to.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like people trying to follow her and shit. She like, and luckily I got a real one. She showed me her phone. Hey, you know this fool? Yeah, I know them. I used to work with them, but we not cool like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And it happened a lot. And I'm just like, what you trying to follow? You know what I'm saying? You don't even say nothing when I post something, but you want to follow my wife. And my wife is she's not black. She's Indian, but she grew up in the hood. She from the east side. You know what I'm saying? So she has a lot of our flavor, you know what I'm saying, already because of what she grew up around.
Absolutely.
But nobody would know that unless they talk to her. You know what I'm saying? But by looking at her like, oh, she's like a typical Indian woman, but she's not. You know what I'm saying? She's very different. But and I understand some black men have this thing where they like, oh, she a different race. You know, they automatically go to, oh, she's exotic. So I wanna see what's going on with her. No, you gotta relax.
Be private.
It's a done deal. So that's what made me start slowing down, because I started seeing like it just go stupid in her not in her DMs or nothing, but just trying to request her. I'm like, half of these fools I don't even talk to like that. We probably say what's up in passing. That's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, I see what it is. So let me slow down on posting her so much, especially once I got into this.
Absolutely.
When I started podcasting, I really slowed down because I was like, you know what? I realize in this industry, people are very disrespectful.
Very.
So whether they know you or not, it don't matter. Cool with you or not, to some degree, it don't matter. They're going to figure out a way or figure out some type of angle to use to have an excuse to try to talk to your wife. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, you're right, Dorian. Niggas be dirty macking. That is a real thing. Some people don't even know what dirty macking is.
They be dirty.
Yeah.
You know, men are very competitive. So they might not even, we're going to get back to the topic, but they may not even they don't want to build with your woman.
Yeah.
They just want the experience
Absolutely.
of a good woman. Like, I just want to experience that, But just to get back to what we were talking about, it's so many people out here with successful marriages and relationships, and I'm just speak of marriages right now. And it's a lot of them that's been married 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
See, but what happens is this is our first time with this, right? You may have not had the proper tools, discipline about yourself, your desires. So I do believe when they say things get better in time and age, sometimes you just have to go through some things to learn things. And that's most wise person in this world have been through a lot. But when you get it, you got it.
Yep. You're right.
And you're not going to compromise it from that point. You're just hoping that someone's coming with the same mindset to the table.
Yeah.
So that part right there, I'm not talking about super high body counts. I'm just talking about life experiences and lessons that you've learned from and have some accountability for. So if you're out there listening, we're talking about 3 does not mean you're out, even if you've been married twice.
Yeah.
It's not a death sentence to your, I think we talked about
It's
this
not.
before, to your visions and dreams that you have for yourself. You made mistakes.
Yeah.
Brush your knees off. Get back out there. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Because at the end of the day, let's be real. Nobody wants to just be alone the entire time. Let's be real. We all want to be with somebody at the end of the day. You know how comfortable it is to get in the bed and your wife put that leg on you?
Man.
Come on, put the thigh, especially if she thick, she put that thigh on you? Oh my God. I don't go to sleep unless I feel that thigh. I got to feel that leg on me, man. I got to feel that warmth. So hey, look, to anybody that's really looking to get married again, go ahead and go for it. I'm not saying every woman you run through got to be the wife. No, what I'm saying is don't be scared to get back out there just because you had one bad experience with this one woman. That one woman clearly was not for you. I don't care if you got cheated on. I don't care if she ran off with your money. I don't care if she just disappeared on you. She just was not for you. That does not mean every woman is the same, my guys. That does not mean that. That means she was just the wrong one. Okay?
Absolutely.
She was just somebody that was just for a time. That's okay. Go move on, move forward, because you're not going to grow until you move forward anyway.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're not letting somebody else just damper your whole vision on women. Because if that's the case, then go ahead and go on the other side of the rainbow then. Because that's the next step. If you feel like all women ain't going to be shit just because this one woman messed it up for you, go ahead. Start
Absolutely.
batting in the other cage. That's on you. But I'm not gonna let that happen where I'm just gonna be like, okay, forget all women. The only thing I did wrong is had that attitude that all women wasn't shit. And once I got that out of my mind, because a real woman helped me get that out of my mind, it was over with.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you just said. But you'll have some people who will still be doubting.
Yeah.
You have to go through the process, and I'll talk about this all the time. You need to take time out to yourself. It's only going to make sense to you. It's never going to make sense to the other person that you may meet, because they're going to right away see all your good qualities.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, they want to go ahead and secure the package, but the package is not complete until you finish with your process.
Yeah.
But don't check yourself out, though. Don't check yourself out. One of my buddies going through a divorce right now. And he said, man, this is hard, man. He said, I feel like I'm bipolar. I'm up, I'm down. I said, you know what? I said, life is going to make sense to you once again.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're out there listening, if you're presently going through something, it's going to make sense again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some things you can't make sense out of, because some people will never come to the table and have accountability for their ill intentions for you, or what they did wrong, or the lack of tools for the relationship or the marriage. But if you never get that sorry, you still have to continue on with life, because your life does not stop there. So I think we talked about don't let the embarrassment get to you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Take your time. And there was one other important thing that you said. Man, stop letting the little head think for the big head.
Yes.
That will mess you up. It'd be like every time. It'll have you jump out there, right, when you know you're not ready. To say it's, I think Dorian said, everything in moderation, right? And that's with your desires, right? If you ever have vanilla ice cream, just because you may not have it for 6 or 7 months, it still tastes the same.
Exactly.
When you go get that double scoop, it ain't nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? So in life, I'm really enjoying this subject. The mind is so powerful. It can will you to do or not. Some people get depressed and stay in the house in the middle of the summer because of their mindset. Yep. Right? Don't let your summer be years, right, that you just stay in the house when you can. I think Brandon, we talked about it. You stepped out, and I stepped out too. I took my time, but the person I'm with now is amazing.
That's real.
She know who she is.
Yep.
And if you're listening, you just know it wasn't you, but for the other people. But I took my time. My process didn't make sense in the beginning because I had never been down this journey before with this sort of energy that I received from a person. I think you said earlier, Todd, it was quite embarrassing because she wants social media with everything. Yep. And I said, you know what, I'm going to let life be her lesson. And people will bash your character when they're trying to cover their tracks. You know what I'm saying? They'll go heavy hard on you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've been through that, let them go. See, one thing, they have to live up to the high standards that they painted to society about themselves. Yeah. So they can never slip. I was a bad guy, so anything I did good was progress. Yeah. Let her, which he painted to social media. So you said it earlier about the social media and embarrassment, and don't talk out with it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, do what you got to do. Brush your knees off, it's okay. 3 does not mean that you're out. 2 does not mean that you're out. And if we think about it and we go back biblically, a lot of people have soul ties to more than 15, 20 people. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately.
And if you're not embarrassed about that, don't be embarrassed about a divorce. Yeah. And wanting to start again.
There you go.
Right? Not having tools to make a relationship work. It's just not having tools. I think you said on a previous show, like, Fred, would you ever entertain being married and not getting the government involved? Yeah. Right? Because that's how everybody knows things publicly. Think about this. What if you had to go public with all your relationships? Exactly. People be like, whoa, man.
You was just with such and such. Oh, you was just with such and such. Exactly. Like, and somebody in the comments, Tanya, she said keep everything private, you know, and also when you put stuff on social media, you got to be careful because everything is not for everybody. You can't put every situation on there. I've seen couples dog each other on social media. I'm like, what are y'all still married for if y'all just about to dog each other? Like, that don't even make any sense. If you not happy, get out. Stop making it seem like this ain't the old days. It's okay to get a divorce. I'm sorry. Get out. If you really that unhappy, go on elsewhere. Find your happiness. And this is another thing a lot of married couples or just people in relationships do. Your happiness should not be dependent upon that one person. You got to be happy within. Yes. Stop making sure stop putting all that pressure on that one person to make it seem like you're going to be happy. You might not be able to provide all that happiness. All you can do is assist with the happiness. Mm-hmm. That's it. So, I understand the people that get scared, but don't let your fear hinder you. Run towards it. I did it. And I was scared as hell. I'm like, dog, this about to be the third time. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I really had to have these tough conversations with me, though. Like, I've been comfortable in my own skin. I've been able to have these conversations, these uncomfortable conversations with myself. Even if I need to bring it up with a homie or whatever, I'm going to confront the shit and still move forward. Because if you don't move forward, you're not going to grow. And if you're not going to grow, die. That's what's going to happen.
Now, you said one thing, and when we should talk about this a tad bit, I think people put way too much responsibility on the other person to make them happy.
Yes.
I think that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
You'll have things in a relationship that they will do to bring you joy. I'll tell my friend, we talking, I'll be like, and she'll do something, and I'll look at her. And I'll be like, you're quite entertaining. She said, well, now I'm entertaining. I say, yes, and I'll laugh. So I no longer look for someone to come in my life and make me happy.
Right.
I'm good before you got here. You know what I'm saying? And I think more people, they want to break up and walk away from relationships because they felt like the person did not make them happy. I think that a couple things you should be looking forward to is some loyalty and some respect.
Right.
That's what it comes down to a relationship. So I think we're looking at the wrong things because of social media and memes that we're basing our success of a relationship on.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, if you've been with someone 20-something years, it's only because they were loyal to your dream, your vision. They were loyal. And then right along the way, even when they didn't understand the direction you were going, they had enough respect to still follow you.
Yes. Absolutely.
That part right there. So I think we need to change this whole narrative about the relationships and marriages and why they break up. And I think that's just so silly.
Yeah.
Because we leave people for things that were only meant to stay for a season. Every season, you're not going to make $10,000 a month. You may have a season where you only make $5,000. But then if someone's there for the 10 or 15 grand a month season, they're gone. You're not going to last.
No.
So we need to change this thing. And if you're moving forward with relationships, just change your narrative on how you view things. Please do. And I think more people will have more successful relationships. My lady now, she made me laugh all the time, even when she get on my nerve. I'm like, man, and it's still funny to me. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm looking at it with a different mindset.
Yeah.
No triggers. You know what I'm saying? Throw them triggers out. Those are undealt with issues.
Yes.
If you got triggers, you ain't dealt with something. Take out some time. No one's at this point in our life, if you're watching this podcast, you're not in high school, you're somewhere, you should no longer have triggers.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if you do got triggers, deal with them shits. Go see somebody. go get some help. Because the last thing you want to do is start get into another relationship. They say something that you didn't heal from. All of a sudden, you didn't snap. You start breaking shit. You turn into the Tasmanian devil. Like, dog, you got to relax. You got to relax and get yourself some help. And this is not just for the fellas. This is for the ladies, too.
Yes.
Because sometimes y'all are notorious for holding on to what hurt you instead of letting that shit go. Let it go.
Yes.
Because all you're going to do is turn into the person that hurt you anyway. Who want that? You want to really turn into somebody you can't stand? That don't make no sense. That's counterproductive.
Absolutely.
Get it together.
Yeah, and I think what just came to me, like you said, turn to the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
Men, be in control of your desires. Women, get better control of your emotions. Those are the two things that will break any relationship or prevent you from moving forward. Emotions and desires.
And for the love of God, get you some emotional intelligence too.
Oh, yes, that's the other one.
For real.
Talk to him.
Sheesh. I'm telling you. Y'all, I know it's been times where y'all done been around each other, right? Somebody just said something you didn't like and you had a great rebuttal. Don't say it because the rebuttal is gonna it's gonna make everything way worse. That's gasoline to the fire. Trust me, if you know you surgical with your words like I am, you better save some of that shit. Save it for the people that really deserve it. Don't do that shit with your wife.
No.
Because you're going to make things worse. They hold on to things way more than what we do. Absolutely. Me, I could brush things under the rug quick because, especially if it's just words. If it's just words, you ain't mess with my money. You ain't mess with my family. I could care less about some words. But if you know you're stronger in that regard, get it together. Stop you know how many times I've stopped myself? Dog, listen, I'm not gonna say like that is easy because it's not. There's been times my wife done said something, I'm like, whoa, you don't even know who you just said that to. But hey, I gotta relax. I look myself in the mirror. Hey, I gotta relax. And then I'll respond because I had to get my emotional intelligence in order in that moment and say, yo, you know what, baby? I really wish you didn't say that. But here's how we can handle this. Blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Instead of responding the way I know I could have responded. Like I said, I'm surgical with these words, but I know that I am. So it's best for you guys to not abuse your power. Absolutely. I know my power is this motherfucker right here. I know my power is right there. I'm not about to abuse it though, because I know I can make things worse. I can make it worse way better than I can make things better. So when you know that, move better. That'll help you out in the long run. Trust me.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Is there any tips that you would give maybe men or women that's listening right now? They're hearing us, but they still have that fear of stepping out because of failure.
The best advice I can give to anybody that has failed is to make sure that you get yourself together first before you decide you're going to try again. And even if you're never going to get yourself 100% together. I say 65 to 75% is better than nothing. So at least do that before you get into the next relationship, especially if you're still holding on to that failure. You got to let go of that failure because guess what? Without failures, there's no success. How you going to know that if you're going to fail or succeed if you don't try? All I'm saying is try. That's it. That's all I got. What about you, bro?
I would tell, if you're listening, just watch how you handle the disrespect. Right? Because the disrespect will have anyone out of character. Right? And lots of time, people don't even know they're being disrespectful because they just have not reached out for help. They don't realize that their mouth raggedy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just don't, because maybe everybody in the house that grew up, everybody's mouth was raggedy, and that's how they spoke to one another.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to move forward, emotional intelligence is very, very important. Just realizing where you're at, your ability to understand where this other person is at. Now, you may have a whole person, and they may be a great person. They may need a little work. Maybe they're worth the investment, right? So emotional intelligence will take you far, and I'm glad you brought that up earlier. And just do a little research on emotional intelligence, and I think that you will see that you will make better decisions and you will respond to disrespect differently. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this saves some of the marriages that are out here. And I think we talked about don't put the responsibility of happiness on the other person when that's up to you to get up and look around at your blessings and things that bring you joy. Right? Stop looking on social media because there ain't no Bentley in the driveway with a bow on it.
Right.
It's a Honda Accord.
Yeah, exactly. And them boys is good on gas. So you gotta relax. Take what you can get. You gotta work for that Bentley if you really want it. All right? It ain't just about to be given to you. I don't care how good your D game is or your P game. You gotta relax. It's not about to just come like that. If they didn't already have it in the beginning, you gotta relax.
Absolutely.
For real. But to anybody that ended up tapping in late, don't worry. You could. I'm gonna have this up on YouTube, and y'all, I will post it, and you guys can check it out from there, from the very beginning, and that way y'all can do whatever else y'all need to do on y'all phone and still watch it. Okay? Because I know how I go.
And I got one more thing I wanted to say, and I had wrote this earlier. I said, never attempt to build with a person who's clearly showing you future disrespect.
Yes.
Allow that red flag to shine bright.
Yes.
Okay? And we need to stop that. You know why? I did it. That's why I know about it. And I'm telling you, stop attempting.
Yeah.
And then maybe you won't be a second and third divorce.
There you go.
Right? We just have to stop that. It's like some mac and cheese. You'll cook it, but it tastes better the next day. Things intensify in time. Things intensify. Yeah. So if the disrespect is heavy now, come on now. Them seasonings going to set in.
Exactly. And also learn from your divorce.
Absolutely.
Learn from it. I learned a very valuable lesson in my last divorce. Mm-hmm. And one of my homies gave me some of the greatest advice that I carried over into this marriage. He had told me, hey, man, I don't care. You know, it's one thing that, you know, you guys started off how y'all started off. But if it gets to a point where something is lacking in your marriage, try to build on something else. Don't just stay focused on what's lacking. If you stay focused on what's lacking, your marriage ain't meant to be no way. And when he told me that, at the time, my last marriage was already going down the drain, right? But I took what he said in that moment and applied it to this marriage. Mm-hmm. And that's why this marriage is going to always be stronger than whatever else I've been in, because I realized, oh, you know what? Just because somebody lacking in a certain area don't mean that's the end of the marriage. I can't stay focused on what's lacking. I need to try to build where I can build and keep progressing. So make sure that y'all think about that when y'all going through y'all downward spiral and you're going through your divorce. When you move forward, remember those lessons you learned in your last one. Remember those lessons you learned and carry them over. That'll help you along the way. A lot of stuff that might look like an L to somebody else is not really going to be an L moving forward.
Absolutely.
So just focus on that. It's gonna be all right. Don't focus on what's being lacked. Focus on what you could build on and make better. Because there's always gonna be something that's gonna lack. Think about it. Most of the people that are married, they're parents. Okay, so something's gonna lack already because your time and attention is going towards something else other than your wife or husband. So just keep that in mind. What you got for him, man?
Listening to this episode, everything may not apply to you, right? But it applies. Use it. Add on. We don't have an answer for everything. We're just our life experiences that we're sharing with you. Yep. And if you've been divorced, move on. It just shows that you had the ability to think that much of a person. That's it. You just a marrying type. It's okay. I'm going to say it again. Brush your knees off. It's okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Get back out there.
Yeah, get back out there. Don't be scared, man. It's all right. It's all right, man. And look, sometimes you go through a divorce and you'll have that mentality of, oh, I hate this person. I never would mess with them again, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't look at none of my exes like that. Honestly, I look at them as blessings. You know why? Because they helped me get to where I'm at right now. All that crap that I went through with those two led me right to where I needed to be with the right one. So remember that.
Yes. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
We got more time.
We got like 5 more minutes.
We got 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Todd, I like what you just said. And I have no ill feelings towards an ex because they made me wiser.
Yes.
And only my lady now can benefit from that. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Not over talking a situation, not getting too angry, right? So you learn along the way. It's almost like in a veil, you know. You're just making your way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? It really, when you think about it, is you can never get great at anything if you don't fail at something.
Thank you. Thank you. That's real.
It's not frowned upon.
Yeah.
It isn't. You know, I remember the guys in the neighborhood, or old cats, who'd be like, hey, you may not want to do that.
Yeah.
Young man.
Yep.
You know, be in a grocery store, you know, because they made the mistake for you.
Exactly.
So when life starts telling you don't do that again, please listen, right? Because I love relationships. I want everybody to be successful.
Yes.
I really do. You know, people say hopeless romantic, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because to me, God is a hopeless romantic, because we be doing some honorary stuff and he still loves us. He ain't divorced us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So who are we?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So my sister always, she said, you know, Fred, listen to that Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. So I finally started getting it, and that's just a key in success for life. You can only make forward movement if you're looking at you. In and out of business, personal relationships, you always just taking you.
Yeah.
You're not even taking the other person. You know, you're not even taking your mom on a job interview. It's you.
Absolutely.
You're your best cheerleader in the car before you go in there for that business loan, for that grant, whatever the case. Be your best cheerleader in life.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be so hard on yourself. Everybody's making mistakes. Some mistakes are public. Some people will make sure your mistakes are public. But they're telling a lot about themselves when they do this, right? We're talking about moving forward in relationships. Mistakes are allowed. I tell my children all the time. In life, I tell them all the time, mistakes are allowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as we got to learn from this.
Yeah.
And be happy tomorrow, today, this afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Todd, you said, how many minutes we got? 2?
Yeah.
3?
Okay.
If you're in one part of your relationship, if it's lacking, build in another one. And I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, because you may just find out that one issue wasn't even that important, and this is so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. and then another thing too, like for the fellas that are divorced or going through one, just understand this: it wasn't all bad.
Nope.
Something was happening in that marriage that was good, which is why y'all got married anyway. No matter why y'all got married, it wasn't all bad. And I got a line that I use to keep me motivated, that from when I used to rap. I said in the very beginning of the song, I want to give a special shout out to my ex-wife. Thanks for making me better for my next wife. That's it.
That part right there.
That's it, man.
That part right there.
But hey, I appreciate you, my guy, for coming on again. This was a very dope
always.
show. Thank you for everybody that was watching. Shout out to my award-winning engineer, Telly. We appreciate you as well too, man. And listen, next time, man, this is about to be a great season. Okay,
Yes.
this wasn't just a great episode. This is a great season because it's all focused around marriage. More interviews coming, more great conversations coming. And we'll catch y'all next time, man. We out of here. Indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talks with Todd.